This audio program by Radio AI is generated using artificial intelligence technologies. The voices you hear in this program are synthetic, and the thoughts they express are shaped through artificial intelligence-driven reasoning and iterative refinement.
Welcome to Radio AI. Today, we're taking a deep dive into what seems like a pretty straightforward question. Do hobbies really matter? But, our sources show it's actually got layers of surprising complexity. Our mission is really to unpack what these sources tell us about how we spend our free time, maybe move beyond some easy assumptions. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating right from the start is, well, you might expect clear-cut answers, right? But the findings, they aren't always consistent when we try to measure the impact hobbies have. And the whole idea of something mattering, it's just so personal. It shifts wildly depending on, the individual, their culture, even the specific activity we're talking about.
Exactly. Your first thought might be all the obvious upsides. And our sources, drawing from behavioral science, psychology, they often show that people who regularly engage in leisure activities tend to report lower stress.
Better life satisfaction too.
Right, and even sharper thinking skills sometimes.
And that's a pretty powerful argument, no doubt.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting, maybe a surprising twist. These benefits, they're not universal. Some studies show advantages only pop up in certain cultural settings. And sometimes something that starts as pure fun, pure enjoyment, can actually increase anxiety.
Oh, right. Like how?
Well, imagine someone picks up a hobby, right? But then it becomes super competitive or maybe just incredibly time-consuming. Suddenly, what was supposed to be a source of joy turns into this pressure cooker.
That nuance really hits home. So if a hobby can become a burden, what makes others so profoundly positive?
Well, the sources give us some really wonderful examples there. Like, so there was a study of a quilting group, I think it was in rural Montana, and the members found not just, new friendships, but this really deep sense of purpose. It fundamentally shifted how they viewed aging.
Wow.
Or think about a young person, maybe in a cooperative music group. They're learning collaboration, perseverance, building real resilience.
So these aren't just ways to pass the time.
Not at all. They actively reshape lives sometimes. They can foster a sense of belonging or maybe newfound confidence. And what's really compelling here, I think, is that beyond these sort of measurable benefits, there's also a more humanistic perspective. This view really emphasizes the deep value in the simple act of choosing activities that resonate with you personally. It's about the agency involved.
Agency, right.
Yeah. So it's less about what the hobby does for you, maybe, and more about who you become through it.
That idea of free choice is powerful, but our sources complicate that too, don't they?
They do.
They suggest our choices are often more shaped than we maybe realize. How deep does that actually go? Is choosing a hobby truly just individual preference? Or is it often influenced by things like family traditions or even just what society expects?
Precisely. Sometimes, learning a craft or joining a certain pastime isn't really a choice you make in a vacuum. It might be something you inherit, or maybe you're just sort of expected to do it. And that fundamentally changes its meaning for the person.
Yeah, I can see that.
And socially, hobbies are incredibly powerful for bringing people together, for building shared identities. Think of like a local music group or an amateur sports league or maybe a group dedicated to some collaborative craft. They all create these really strong bonds, a real sense of community.
But there's a flip side to that social coin, isn't there?
Definitely. Highly specialized interests, or really exclusive ones, can create very clear insider and outsider groups. And this is maybe especially true now in the digital age. You've got online communities connecting people globally around super niche interests. Now, while this can foster incredible inclusivity for some people who might feel isolated otherwise,
it can also lead to insularity.
Yeah, exactly. Or even kind of commercial exploitation if joining that club gets tied up with needing to buy things or pay membership fees.
Right, okay.
So it raises this really important point. The very idea of what counts as a hobby and whether it matters is often shaped by way more than just personal interest. Our sources really highlight that access is a huge factor here.
Access meaning?
Meaning it's not just about having the time or the money, those are obviously important. It's also about your cultural background, social norms, maybe even institutional policies, things like the education system or workplace rules. They can either open doors to certain activities or put up significant barriers. And that profoundly influences who gets to engage in which activities and how those activities are even valued by society.
So when we ask if hobbies truly matter, it's never just a simple yes or no, is it?
Not at all. They seem to occupy this kind of shifting, often contested space in our lives. Sometimes they might feel trivial, other times profoundly transformative. But they're never really reducible to just one single measure. And if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, asking if hobbies matter is, in a lot of ways, asking these much broader questions, isn't it? Questions about our personal freedom, our agency, about fairness and equity in society, and maybe even about the very nature of what gives our lives meaning. There's definitely room for more analytical research here too, comparing across cultures, maybe developing better ways to categorize hobbies, to understand their significance.
That makes so much sense. It really does make you think about what gives your own life meaning, doesn't it? And maybe what influences the choices you make for your own leisure time. What stands out to you about how your hobbies fit into your life? We genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for joining us on Radio AI for this deep dive. We really appreciate your time and attention. Please feel free to share your reflections in the comments section below. Hope to have you with us again on Radio AI. Until next time.